Hello everyone, I'm your hostess with the mostest 8-second gaming, and in today's video we're going to be breaking down 5 tips for you to win more of your fights in Apex. Because fights are important. If you die, you're not going to be getting any KP, and if you don't get KP, then you're not going to be gaining any RP. But by the end of this video, you will understand more ways that you can actually win your gunfights. Now, while gunfights are a very important skill to learn in Apex, there are multiple other skills that you have to learn as well if you want to become a master player. And if you're looking to learn all those skills, then there's no better place than the GameLeap website. Over there, we have top level coaches creating the best, most highly informative guides. We're releasing up to 10 videos a week and they're all site exclusive, so you will not find them anywhere else. We got legend guides, gun guides, VOD reviews, and much more, all aimed at making you the best player you can possibly be. So if you're looking to hit Diamond, Masters, or even Predator, click the link in the description, pick yourself up a membership, or I won't share any of my stir fry with you. But okay, let's jump right into the tips now, and the first thing that we need to be talking about is isolation. Now, whenever you start a fight, you should always be looking for someone that's split off from their team. Now, sometimes there are fights where nobody is split from their team, but that's when you also need to be looking at, is there anyone that you can make split from their team? Ways to do this are with something like a grenade or an ability or just line of sight on them. Because isolation is a very powerful tool that a lot of people need to be adding into their arsenal. Because if you're able to use this properly and split somebody from the team, you drive a wedge in between them and their friends, and you're able to kill them, then you've just turned the fight from a 3v3 into a 3v2 almost instantly before the enemy team even has a chance to react. Once you've done that, you've pretty much won, because then you can start to slow down, take your time, control the fight, work angles, and slowly take that other 2 teammates out. You can really take control of the fight by healing, taking new angles, or whatever you need to do as a player. And the good thing about this is the enemy team is almost powerless to stop it because they don't have the numbers advantage. If one of them tries to rush you, you have 2 other teammates while he only has 1. When you stop thinking of fights as 3v3s and start to break them down into 3v1s, with the power of isolation, you will start to win a ton more. But now we can jump into tip number 2, and that is your ego and over peaking is killing you. Ego peaking is a plague in lower elo. It's one of the things that I most commonly see cause players to lose fights. If you are to say peek a player and they do significantly more damage to you than you do to them, say you hit them for 25 but they hit you for 125 and you have white armor, then why are you trying to re-peek them? Why are you going back for seconds when you are almost dead? And some of you may be watching this video and laughing, saying who would do that, and I've seen it happen multiple times. The enemy that you're trying to re-peek isn't low, you just whiffed a bunch of shots. There is no reason to re-peek. That's called an ego peek because you're letting your ego take over, saying I can't get hit this many times without returning that much damage, so you try to re-peek them and you get punished for it, and that loses your team the fight. But ego peeking isn't the only thing that's losing people fights. There's also over peeking. And this is also something that a lot of players do, so don't feel badly if you're one of these people. Now, overpeaking is very simply just you overstay in one certain location. It's not necessarily that you wide swung a certain spot or you're just continuously shooting. Overpeaking can also be that you shoot a couple bullets, peek into cover, peek back out from the same spot, shoot a couple bullets again, because you're peeking the same spot, and that is overpeaking. Now, a good rule of thumb to fix this is if you start a fight holding an angle and you don't hit any of the bullets off the rip, then you should probably duck back behind cover and then reposition. At that point, you've given away where you are. They're going to be ready for you. So if you peek the same spot again, they're most likely going to have their crosshairs ready for you, and you're just going to get insta-gibbed. Overpeaking is the telltale sign of a greedy player. It's better to take that short amount of time to reposition, peek a new angle, and try to get shots out from there. You don't even have to massively reposition, like you don't have to run to a completely new spot. Even something like peeking another side of a rock that you're playing behind is repositioning. So keep that in mind. I'm now jumping into tip number 3. This is you have to have proper tracking. And this one may sound a little weird to some people, but improper tracking can cause you to be missing shots and therefore losing fights. When some people get into fights, I see a lot of the time they are focusing on their crosshair way too much, and that's what they are tunnel visioning on. They think the thing that they need to focus on is their reticle and not the person behind the reticle, but that's backwards. When tracking, you should be focusing on the enemy player. That way, naturally, your hand will follow with your eye. Have you ever not been really paying attention? You look somewhere and then you find your body drifting towards that spot? It's the same thing with aiming. If you're focusing on your reticle, your aim isn't going to be as good because your hand is naturally not going to be moving. That's why having a good reticle color that isn't too distracting but still stands out enough is very key. And that's why I personally use a green reticle. Now, switching your focus from your reticle to an enemy player might be a little bit tough off the start. Some people have that muscle memory just ingrained in their head, but trust me, it's worth it. Something to help you out is to go into the firing range, activate the dummies, and practice on them. While the dummies are running around, it's very good practice for you to track them and not your reticle. You don't even have to shoot them. Just practice strafing and tracking at the same time. And eventually that muscle memory of tracking your reticle will fade and you will be a lot better off in fights. Moving into tip number 4 though, this is to know when to cancel heals. Now, healing mid-fight is something that you're going to have to do. Sometimes you just get hit by a lot of bullets and you have to pop a battery. But not a lot of people understand when to cancel the heal to help out a teammate. If your buddy is being swung on by someone and they aren't focused on you, then it's probably a good idea to cancel that battery or whatever and just kind of help out your teammate. Because they're not focused on you and they think that you're healing, they probably are going to open themselves up to an angle for you and be way too focused on your teammate. That will give you free shots and allow you and your teammate to down them extremely quickly before they have a chance to react. Doing stuff like this has helped me win a ton of fights in high rank lobbies and also even tournaments. And if those high level players aren't expecting it, you can be sure that low elo players won't be expecting it either. And it will help you win some fights. Now, I'm not saying to cancel every single heal because sometimes people overdo it. They'll be very far away from their teammate will get swung on, they'll cancel a heal that was almost done to run over and try to help their teammate, and that's overdoing it. The only time that you really should be canceling a heal is basically if you're right next to your teammate. If you have to really overcommit to something, then it's worth it to just heal instead. But now we can talk about tip number 5, and that is dropping armors for downed teammates. Now, this one is more for fighting off third parties and winning those because we are in Kings Canyon right now and it is very third party heavy. But it's very often that you will win a fight and have at least one teammate down. If that's the case, then you need to get it into your head to start dropping armors for your friends. Go into a random death box, grab the armor that's there and drop it right next to the teammate that's being revived. That way, as soon as they get up, they have an instant boost of health and they're not going to get instantly downed again. And I know that sometimes the armor that you're grabbing out of the death box will be worse than what they have. But if that's the case, you gotta remember that a full blue armor is better than an empty red armor. After they heal up their health and have a second to breathe, they can grab the red back and heal that up as well. But if a third party is rushing in right after a fight, if you do have that armor sitting right next to you waiting, then you can be useful almost instantly and either help kill the third party or send them back into the shadows where they came from to wait for more shots to be fired. This tip can and will save you from those annoying 3Ps, and it's very simple, yet almost no one does it. It's one of the most effective ways to fight off a third party. Now, another thing that you guys should be keeping in mind is that no one can win 100% of the gunfights that they're taking. If you lose a fight in Apex, don't let it bother you. Analyze what went wrong, talk about it with your teammates, learn from it, grow from it, but don't dwell on it. If you let it get to your head, you're only going to play worse and worse and lose more fights. Don't bring last game's baggage into a new game. Each game is a fresh game and you should always treat it as that. But now I want to throw a question to you guys, the community. With only 24 days left in the split at the time of writing this, are you guys ready to move on to Stormpoint, or do you and Kings Canyon still have some unfinished business? I know a lot of people have already hit the ranks that they're looking to grind for, but have you? Let me know in the comments down below. And with all this being said, guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video and learned something new. If you did and you want to stay up to date with the latest and greatest Apex Legends tips, tricks, and news, don't forget to smash that like and subscribe button. Thank you all for watching. Once again, I'm 8 Second Gaming, and I will see you in the next one.